Could London's merchants conquer a world beyond the seas? The Thames shimmered under dawn's pale glow, a silver ribbon weaving through a city pulsing with ambition. Cobbled streets echoed, hooves clattered, vendors' cries pierced morning air, bells tolled faintly from distant spires. Smoke curled from chimneys, blending coal's sharp bite with bread's warm scent, a hymn to dreams daring to soar beyond England's shores. Merchants, hearts ablaze, tread these paths, their eyes, fixed on far horizons, saw not mere trade, but destiny. India whispered in tales, spices that burned the tongue, silks that dazzled London's salons, gold promising eternal glory. Would their courage withstand the unknown's trials? Thomas Whitaker, mid-30s, stood among them, his coat worn yet proud, its threads bearing ambition's weight. His quill-scarred hands traced maps, each line a path to riches, each curve a whispered challenge. London's docks thrummed, ships creaked, their timbers groaning under barrels' weight. Ropes strained, taut as merchants' hopes. Sailors murmured prayers to forgotten saints, voices soft against the wind's howl. The air, thick with salt, tar, coal's faint tang, carried anticipation's heavy weight. Thomas's gaze followed the Thames, envisioning vessels braving storms, carrying England's dreams to India's fabled shores. Every step aboard was a leap into uncertainty, a gamble of fortune, life, reputation. In candlelit counting houses, he pored over charts, ink-staining fingers, heart racing with visions, bazaars alive with haggling voices, silk shimmering under foreign suns, coins glinting in vibrant markets. The city's pulse, its clamor, its fog, its restless energy, fueled these men, not mere traders, but pioneers. Their minds danced with tales of distant ports, where spices perfumed the air, where wealth was a living force. Thomas, resolute, calculated risks, storms, pirates, foreign tongues. Each map's curve held promise, peril, each route tested wit. His companions, men of modest means, shared his fire. Their whispered plans, forged in smoky taverns, wove dreams of legacy. The docks buzzed, clerks scurried, ledgers trembling in nervous hands. Shipwrights hammered, blows echoing ambition's beat. London, a city of grit and grandeur, stood as their crucible, forging resolve from fog, stone, and whispered tales of distant riches. The merchant's ambition was no fleeting fancy. It was a fire stoked by tales of India's splendor, palaces gleaming, markets teeming, rivers flowing with promise. Thomas's heart pounded as he imagined stepping into those vibrant streets, where every deal could reshape fortunes, where every nod could forge empires. The Thames, restless, mirrored their yearning, its currents urging them toward the unknown. These men were not bound by London's limits. They were dreamers, their vision a beacon lighting paths to uncharted shores. Yet, ambition demanded allies. Letters, penned with meticulous care, secured partners across oceans, settled debts coin by coin, built trust through deliberate promises. Each word was a vow, each deal a step toward legacy. The Thames, alive with gulls' piercing cries, echoed their resolve. Ships, sails furled, stood ready to bear dreams vast as the seas. London's merchants were tethered to hope, calculation, courage, men who risked all, driven by a truth. Fortune favored the bold. Could they master the perils of uncharted waters? Thomas, eyes gleaming with quiet ambition, felt destiny's call, a whisper of bustling markets, a promise of glory beyond the fog's veil. No plan could tame the sea's caprice, yet preparation was their armor. Thomas's maps, worn and inked, held secrets of routes untried, ports unseen. Every quill stroke was a pledge to conquer uncertainty. The merchants, united, stood at the Thames edge, their vision stretching beyond London's smoke. They were not mere men. They were architects of commerce, their ambition a beacon lighting the path to India's shores. Clerks, faces pale with nerves, clutched ledgers. Shipwrights' hammers rang, each strike a note in ambition's symphony. The city's fog, thick and grey, cloaked their plans, yet their resolve burned brighter, a flame no mist could dim. Each merchant carried stories of families left behind, of fortunes staked on hope, of dreams born in taverns' dim glow. The Thames, restless, urged them forward, its currents a mirror of their daring. Their ships, laden with England's hopes, stood poised to sail into the unknown, chasing riches, glory, legacy. The docks pulsed with life, ropes tightened, sails unfurled, voices rose in hurried commands. London's heartbeat, its ceaseless energy, fueled their mission. Thomas, standing tall, felt the weight of history in his hands, the promise of a new world in his heart. What worlds awaited their audacity? Join us to uncover their bold journey. Like and subscribe now. The ocean was no mere path. It was a crucible. Each wave tested intellect. Each gust demanded daring. Thomas stood at the railing, salt spray stinging his face, heart alight with possibility. His companions, faces etched with resolve, shared tales of London's taverns, where dreams were born over flickering candles. The sea, vast and unforgiving, was their stage. Success meant legacy, failure, oblivion. Every decision, navigating treacherous currents, rationing supplies, was a balance of wit, intuition, audacity. The ship plunged forward, slicing waves, its grace defying the ocean's wrath. Gulls wheeled above, their cries a chorus to ambition's march. Could they outwit the sea's relentless trials? No storm could dim their fire. Thomas's maps, inked with hope, held secrets of routes untried, ports unseen. Every quill stroke was a vow to conquer uncertainty. The merchants, united, were more than traders. They were architects of a new world, their ambition a flame no tempest could extinguish. The deck buzzed. Sailors shouted. Ropes creaked. Sails billowed in the wind's embrace. London's heartbeat, its ceaseless drive, echoed in their mission. Thomas, eyes gleaming with quiet ambition, felt the weight of history in his hands, the promise of glory in his heart. The horizon, endless and shimmering, called them forward, a world of wealth, mystery, challenge. What lay across the waves? Join us to sail with their vision. Did India's riches beckon beyond the sea's wrath? Dawn gilded London's docks, sunlight glinting off weathered planks, tangled rigging, and merchants' hopeful faces. The Thames, a restless mirror, carried salt's sharp tang, tar's acrid bite, seaweed's faint whisper. Ships swayed, eager for tides to free them from the city's grasp. Thomas Whitaker, mid-30s, moved through the bustling crowd, his coat flapping in the breeze, his gaze piercing the morning mist. Heart pounding with quiet ambition, he saw not just ships, but vessels of destiny. Clerks clutched ledgers, hands trembling with nerves. Sailors secured ropes, eyes fixed on the horizon. Every motion was a dance, anticipation, fear, courage entwined. Would their dreams survive the ocean's trials? The city roared behind. Smoke spiraled from chimneys. Bells tolled. Merchants shouted over carts laden with goods. Yet Thomas's mind was elsewhere, on maps charting distant ports, on tales of spices perfuming the air, silks gleaming under alien suns. On deck, he felt the wind's sharp kiss, a taste of adventure that stirred his soul. His companions, men of modest means, shared his fire. Sacrifices made, risks weighed, dreams staked on hope. Sailors' songs, low and rhythmic, mingled with creaking ropes, waves soft slap against hulls, a hymn to daring. Letters, dispatched weeks prior, secured allies across oceans. Every detail, tides, provisions, routes, was calculated with precision. Yet the sea's caprice loomed. Storms, pirates, uncharted perils. Could their resolve conquer such unknowns? The Thames faded, London's skyline blurring into a hazy dream. The horizon stretched, vast, inviting, a canvas for their ambition. Merchants whispered of bazaars where coins clinked, where wealth awaited the bold. Thomas's maps, edges worn, promised ports with names like Music, Surat, Calicut, Goa, each a stage for trade, challenge, glory. The ship's timbers groaned, sails snapped, ready to carry England's hopes. Every knot tied, every course plotted, was a pledge to transform dreams into reality. London's pulse, its clamour, its fog, its restless energy, lived in these men, pioneers of commerce. Their vision was no mere whim. It was a fire stoked by tales of India's splendour, a beacon lighting their path across the seas. Could merchants outwit the ocean's relentless fury? The sea stretched, a vast canvas of blue and silver, waves catching sunlight like shattered promises. Thomas Whitaker gripped the ship's railing, timbers trembling beneath his feet. Alive with the ocean's restless pulse, salt-laden wind stung his face, carrying whispers of distant lands, spice's fiery tang, silk's soft allure, opportunity's intoxicating promise. The crew moved as one, ropes taut, sails straining, hands sure despite the sea's caprice. Merchants' eyes, however, pierced the horizon, maps unfurled in their minds, imagining ports where wealth danced in vibrant markets. Would their daring triumph over the waves' wrath? Thomas's map, edges frayed, marked India's coasts, names like Music, promising trade, challenge, destiny. Each line was a gamble, each port a stage for courage. His companions whispered strategies, spices to awe London's elite, silks to spark envy in gilded salons. Yet ambition needed precision. Storms loomed, waves roared, testing resolve. The ship groaned, slicing waves, its grace defying peril. Every decision, navigation, provisions, was a balance of intellect, intuition, audacity. Thomas's heart raced, not with fear, but exhilaration. The sea was no foe, but a crucible for their quiet ambition. The deck buzzed, sailors shouted, ropes creaked, canvas snapped in the wind's fierce embrace. Above, clouds churned, their shadows flickering over restless waters. Below, waves surged, their foam a fleeting crown. Thomas stood firm, coat flapping, eyes scanning the horizon for signs of land or storm. His companions, faces etched with resolve, shared tales of London's fog, of dreams born in taverns' dim glow. The ocean, vast and unforgiving, was their test. Success meant legacy, failure, oblivion. Every knot tied, every course plotted, wove their saga, a tale of vision, risk, triumph. The ship plunged forward, timbers singing, sails billowing, a defiant anthem against the sea's might. Could they master its relentless trials? Lightning flickered, distant yet ominous. Waves rose, testing the ship's resolve. Thomas's maps, inked with hope, held secrets of routes untried, ports unseen. Every quill stroke was a vow to conquer uncertainty. The merchants, united, were more than traders. They were architects of commerce, their ambition a flame no tempest could dim. Sailors' songs, low and haunting, mingled with the wind's howl, a chorus to their daring. The deck pulsed, orders barked, ropes tightened, eyes scanned for danger. London's heartbeat, its ceaseless drive, echoed in their mission. Thomas, eyes gleaming with quiet ambition, felt history's weight in his hands, glory's promise in his heart. No storm could break their fire. The ocean, a relentless adversary, demanded respect. Every wave was a challenge, Every gust a test of wit. Thomas's companions, weathered yet resolute, shared glances of unspoken trust. They spoke of London, of cobbled streets, smoky taverns, families left behind, anchoring their courage in memories of home. The ship, their fragile ark, carried England's dreams. Its creaks were a symphony of hope, its sails a banner of audacity. The horizon, endless and shimmering, called them forward, a world of wealth, mystery, challenge. As sunlight pierced the clouds, gilding waves in fleeting gold, destiny beckoned. What awaited on India's fabled shores? Dawn's haze lifted, revealing a coastline aglow, palms swaying, harbours bustling, sunlight dancing on gentle waves. Thomas Whitaker, mid-30s, stood at the ship's bow, heart pounding, the ocean's trials behind, opportunity ahead. His coat, weathered yet proud, flapped in the salty breeze. His eyes, alight with quiet ambition, traced the shore's vibrant promise. Ships rocked gently, sails furled, sailors' hands, steady from months at sea, prepared longboats with practiced care. The air carried spices' faint tang, saffron, pepper, cloves, promising wealth beyond London's dreams. Merchants, coats straightened, felt the thrill of arrival, their vision no longer a map's whisper, but a reality unfolding. Could they claim these shores' riches? The harbour thrummed. Local traders in vibrant robes, ships from distant lands bearing exotic emblems, voices haggling in strange melodic tongues. Thomas scanned the scene, noting every detail. Fabrics, silken sheen, coins' metallic weight, gestures' subtle meaning. His stall, modest yet strategic, displayed English goods, wool, iron tools. Drawing curious glances from passers-by, negotiations began, delicate, precise. A wrong word could unravel weeks of planning. A well-timed nod could forge alliances. The sun climbed, illuminating bazaars where silks gleamed like liquid light. Spices scented the air with fiery allure. Every trade was a step toward influence. Every deal a test of wit, patience, courage. The shore, alive with color, was no mere destination. It was a stage where dreams met destiny. Thomas's heart raced as he navigated the crowd, senses overwhelmed by the bazaar's pulse. Elephants' heavy steps, vendors' rhythmic cries, waves' soft crash against the piers. His companions, faces etched with resolve, bartered with growing ease, their English wares mingling with India's treasures. The harbour was a crucible, forging bonds through careful words, shared smiles, calculated risks. Beyond commerce, Thomas saw legacy, networks spanning oceans, England's mark etched on distant lands. The sea's trials had tested their mettle. Now, intellect and audacity shaped their path. Could patience outshine haste in this vibrant arena? The market's chaos was a symphony, voices clashing, coins clinking, fabrics rustling. Thomas's stall became a beacon, drawing traders like moths to flame. Each exchange, wool for silk, tools for spices, was a dance of respect, strategy, trust. Local merchants, sharp-eyed, tested his wit. A misstep could cost dearly. A gesture could seal bonds. The sun, now high, bathed the harbour in golden warmth, casting shadows that danced with the crowd's rhythm. Thomas's companions, once strangers to this land, moved with growing confidence, their quiet ambition weaving England into India's tapestry. Every deal struck was a thread in a grand design, every nod a step toward glory. No challenge dimmed their fire. Disputes flared over weights, prices, customs, but intellect prevailed. Thomas, eyes gleaming, guided his men, balancing diplomacy with daring. The shore, once alien, felt familiar, its vibrancy a canvas for their vision. Letters, penned aboard, secured alliances. Every contract was a vow to build something enduring. The harbor's pulse, its colors, its scents, its ceaseless energy, mirrored their resolve. As dusk painted the sky in hues of amber and rose, lanterns flickered, illuminating stalls brimming with promise. Thomas felt destiny's weight, a saga unfolding with every trade. The merchants, pioneers of commerce, stood poised to transform these shores. What legacy would they forge? Join us to witness their triumph. Like and subscribe now. Could merchants master India's vibrant markets? The port burst with life. Stalls draped in crimson, saffron, indigo silks, spices' fiery tang stinging the air, coins' metallic clink echoing like a heartbeat. Thomas Whitaker, mid-30s, stepped into the bazaar, heart racing, senses overwhelmed by its pulse. His coat, weathered yet proud, brushed against vibrant fabrics. His eyes, gleaming with quiet ambition, drank in the chaos. Elephants' heavy steps, vendors' rhythmic cries, waves' soft crash against distant piers. Ships lined the harbor, their sails bearing exotic emblems, hulls scarred by far-off seas. This was no mere market. It was a crucible where intellect, courage, and destiny collided. Would London's merchants prevail? Thomas's stall, a modest beacon of English trade, drew traders like moths to flame. Wool met silk, iron tools met saffron. Each exchange was a dance, respect, strategy, patience woven together. Local merchants, sharp-eyed and cunning, tested his wit. A misstep could unravel plans. A smile could seal bonds. The air hummed, dust swirled, incense curled. Voices rose in melodic tongues that twisted the ear. Thomas noted every detail. Fabric's intricate weave, coins' weight, customs' subtle rhythm. Every trade built trust. Every deal wove England deeper into India's vibrant tapestry. The bazaar's pulse was intoxicating. A symphony of opportunity where ambition could soar. Could they turn this chaos into legacy? The market's vibrancy was a challenge and a promise. Thomas's companions, faces alight with resolve, bartered with growing ease, their English wares mingling with India's treasures. Disputes flared over weights, prices, gestures, but intellect prevailed. Each negotiation was a step toward influence, each knot a thread in a grand design. The sun climbed, bathing stalls in golden warmth, shadows dancing with the crowd's rhythm. Thomas moved among his men, guiding, observing, ensuring every trade aligned with their vision. The harbor, alive with color, was no longer foreign. It was a stage for their daring, a canvas for their dreams. As noon faded, the bazaar's clamor grew. Voices clashed, coins clinked, fabrics rustled. Thomas's stall thrived, its modest wares drawing crowds curious for English goods. Local traders, once wary, offered nods of respect, their gestures warm, hinted at trust. Every exchange, spices for wool, silks for tools, was a vow to build something enduring. The market was a crucible, forging bonds through careful words, calculated risks. Beyond commerce, Thomas saw networks spanning oceans. England's mark etched on these vibrant shores. The sea's trials had shaped them. Now, patience and audacity crafted their path. Could they forge a lasting legacy? Evening's glow lit the harbor, lanterns flickering like stars against the dusk. Thomas's companions, weary yet triumphant, counted coins, measured gains, shared knowing glances. The bazaar's pulse, its scents, its sounds, its ceaseless energy, mirrored their resolve. Every deal struck was a step toward greatness. Every alliance, a seed of empire. The merchants, once strangers, were now players in a grand saga, their quiet ambition weaving England into India's fabric. Thomas felt destiny's weight, a fire no challenge could dim. The market, alive with promise, was their arena. Commerce, diplomacy, legacy intertwined. As shadows lengthened, the horizon beckoned, whispering of new triumphs. What legacy would they build? Could ambition outlast the tide's relentless trials? Sunlight bathed the harbor, its rays glinting off waves, yet uncertainty lingered like mist. Thomas Whitaker, mid-30s, stood at the ship's railing, his coat weathered, eyes gleaming with quiet ambition. Waves lapped below, each ripple a reminder of risk. The port buzzed, sailors unloaded crates, merchants haggled, tides shifted restlessly. Spices, silks, artifacts moved in careful hands. A single spill could ruin months of work. Every decision, trade, alliance, timing, was a gamble. The air carried saffron's fiery tang, sea's salt, ambition's pulse. Would London's merchants endure this crucible? Rival traders watched, their glances sharp. Local merchants, cunning, tested every deal. Thomas moved with precision, guiding his men, noting tides, customs, power's subtle flow. The harbor was a chessboard, each move calculated, each pause strategic. Alliances formed slowly, a nod, a gift could sway fortunes, a misstep undo them. Crates stacked along docks bore England's hopes. Wool, tools, dreams packed tight. The market's pulse. Voices clashing, coins clinking, elephants' heavy steps echoed their resolve. Every trade was a step towards influence, every deal a test of wit, patience, courage. Could they master this complex stage? Thomas's companions, faces etched with resolve, bartered with growing skill, their English wares mingling with India's treasures. Disputes flared over weights, prices, gestures, but intellect prevailed. The sun climbed, casting golden warmth over bustling piers, shadows dancing with the crowd's rhythm. Thomas observed every detail: fabrics weave, coins wait, traders' glances. The harbor, once daunting, became their arena. Each negotiation wove England deeper into India's vibrant tapestry. Beyond commerce, they sought legacy, networks spanning oceans, a mark etched on distant shores. The sea's trials had forged them. Now, diplomacy and daring shaped their path. As noon faded, challenges grew. Language barriers, rival bids, shifting tides. Yet, Thomas's men adapted, their quiet ambition shining. Negotiations turned threats into bonds. Patience forged trust. The port's chaos was a symphony. Vendors' cries, waves crash, coins clink. Thomas's stall, modest yet thriving, drew crowds curious for English goods. Local traders, once wary, offered warm nods. Their gestures hinted at respect. Every exchange, spices for wool, silks for tools, was a vow to build something enduring. The market's pulse, its sense, its sounds, mirrored their resolve. Lanterns flickered as dusk fell, illuminating stalls brimming with promise. No challenge could dim their fire. Thomas, eyes gleaming, guided his men, balancing diplomacy with audacity. Letters, penned aboard, secured alliances. Every contract was a pledge to conquer uncertainty. The harbor, alive with color, was no longer foreign. It was a canvas for their vision. Sailors, hands steady, unloaded crates with care. Their loyalty fueled the merchant's mission. The tides, relentless, tested their mettle, but their ambition held firm. As evening's glow painted the sky in hues of amber and rose, Thomas felt destiny's weight, a saga unfolding with every trade. The merchants, pioneers of commerce, stood poised to transform these shores. What triumphs awaited their resolve? What legacy would London's merchants forge? Dawn painted the port in rose and gold, a canvas of triumph shimmering on the horizon. Thomas Whitaker, mid-30s, stood at the ship's bow, his coat weathered, eyes gleaming with quiet ambition. The harbor, once alien, now bore England's mark. Merchants, no longer strangers, wove into India's vibrant tapestry. Markets hummed. Silks shimmered like liquid light. Spices' fiery tang scented the air. Coins clinked in harmonious exchange. Their dreams, born in London's fog, had blossomed into reality. The sea's trials, the market's chaos, had forged a saga of daring. Would their legacy endure? Stalls bustled with life. Local traders, once cautious, offered warm nods of respect. Thomas's men, faces etched with pride, sealed contracts, their English wares, wool, tools, mingling with India's treasures. Every crate stacked along docks, every letter penned, carried England's vision. Commerce, diplomacy, legacy intertwined. The port's pulse, elephants' heavy steps, vendors' rhythmic cries, waves' soft crash, blended with their resolve. They had faced storms, rivals, unknowns, yet prevailed through intellect, courage, patience. The sun rose higher, gilding ships, markets, futures in golden warmth. Shadows danced, mirroring their triumph. Thomas moved among his men, guiding, observing, ensuring every trade strengthened their foothold. Could their vision echo through ages? The harbour was a crucible, forging bonds through careful words, calculated risks. Thomas's stall, modest yet thriving, drew crowds eager for English goods. Each exchange, spices for wool, silks for tools, was a vow to build something enduring. Local merchants, now allies, shared smiles. Their gestures hinted at trust earned through months of effort. Beyond commerce, Thomas saw networks spanning oceans, England's mark etched on these vibrant shores. The sea's trials had shaped them. Now, diplomacy and audacity crafted their path. The market's pulse, its colors, scents, ceaseless energy, mirrored their ambition. Every deal struck was a thread in a grand design, every nod a step toward glory.